Can you introduce yourself and just explain who you are?
Hi Seb, my name is Paul Graham. I'm head of dental at Christie and Co. We look after the transactional market within the dental sector, typically acting for independent clients who are looking to sell. That might be single assets into larger portfolio deals as well.
Perfect. So Christie has just advised on a landmark deal between Real Good Dental and Trispan. Can you just put into context how big this deal was, and was it a difficult deal to go through?
Yeah, the deal size, it was in terms of aggregate size of the group now, with 46 sites, it sits within the top 10 operators within the UK. Most of which in those top 10 already have private equity investment, and they have their platform created, the typical corporate setup really. So to see an independent of that size and scale aiming for private equity investment to grow, it's significant. For our company, it's been a landmark deal, and indeed for the dental arena in general, it's a landmark deal. So great to see.
And was it a difficult, because of the size of it, was it a difficult deal to go through?
I think the intensity of it is definitely emphasised, given the enormity of the portfolio. Um, there tends to be a lot more advisors, intermediaries involved in a transaction of that size. So I suppose you take the foundations of a single asset deal, you apply the same methodology to a degree, but yeah, emotions and the deal time effectively is heightened given the size of it.
Yeah, yeah. So, who is Trispan, and why have they decided to enter the Scottish dental market?
Hmm. And I think Scottish dental market has just been a result of this opportunity being available. I think they were very keen to look at the wider UK market. Trispan is a leading investment fund, mid-market private equity firm. They have offices in London and New York. They specialise in multi-site rollout and across healthcare services from its funds. In terms of its healthcare fund, they have had expertise across and investment across the aesthetics related businesses, and also a US based dental company as well. So this is their first UK based dental acquisition or investment. And yeah, I think they're very pleased with the platform that they're now going to grow from.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, the last 18 months we've all been dealing with the COVID pandemic. Did that influence the process at all?
Yeah, good question. I think it did, but in a positive way. I don't want to sound as though we're putting that spin on it, but pre-COVID, so from January 20, we brought the opportunity to the market. We had an incredible level of interest at that time, and that was probably a follow-on from 2019, a very strong year within the transactional market within dental. The pandemic hit, but just prior to that point, we had set dates for best and final offers on this particular portfolio, investment into this portfolio. And we took the tough decision at that time to actually pull the plug on that. So myself and the owners of the group made that call, and ultimately it was the right call. I think those investors that were keen at that time were grateful for that pause in the marketplace. And I think how it's transpired is that we have then seen the market go from strength to strength. So through the period of practices being closed, or the profession effectively being suppressed and shut down to a degree, they have rebounded very quickly. The operating procedures allow practices to remain open through second lockdowns, for example. And I think what that has done is just really underpin the strength of the profession, the strength of that market. So whilst investors were probably private equity investors generally at that time who were interested, had investments in other industries and commerce would look at those taking a real hit generally, as many would during that particular initial phase of the pandemic. But then looking at the dental profession, still being far from ideal, but generally being topped up and supported along the way a lot better than other industries. So I think that really actually helped our position. And I think from an investor's perspective, it probably helped them recognize that even in difficult markets, this is in a needs-based business, something that is very robust in the marketplace.
Yeah, definitely. So why did you put it on pause during COVID? Was it just to have a bit of breathing room to see how the market reacted?
Yeah, I think it was. I think really recognizing at that time that there was a lot of distractions about to take place. That was evident, and so an opportunity like this is you generally get one crack of the whip at it. So there was that defining moment that we made that judgment call, and it was definitely the right thing to do.
Yeah, definitely. And was there a lot of interest in the Real Good Dental Group?
There was, the investment funds across the UK and Europe being interested. There was interest from established trade buyers as we know them today. I think for the particular owners and of Real Good, they were looking for investment to help them grow and establish the group, the foundations of the group even further. So this wasn't about a retiring dentist who was ready to sail off into the sunset. This is someone who has a stake going forward in the business with support of private equity, and Trispan in this regard is to enhance their offering across the existing portfolio, but then establish themselves and contend with other corporates in the marketplace, which I'm sure they'll do very successfully.
Yeah, and this deal is a really big deal, not just within Scotland, but the wider UK as well. So, what does that say about the dental practice market at the moment?
Yeah, I think that's one area that we recognise that even on single asset transactions just now, we are monitoring very closely. So the opportunity to see very good practices come to the market now and how they've managed to adapt and cope with I suppose the hurdles within the profession and the pandemic that overlap those hurdles, and then emerge probably stronger. And I think that is a great trait to have within those practices that are either looking to sell or have further investment. And investors like that as well. There's an opportunity there to take a very good business and make it even better. I think the pandemic has helped operators just become a bit more mindful about their own businesses in that regard. The profession was strong before. Arguably, it's got stronger as a result of the pandemic.
Are there specific areas that you think have got stronger? So, for example, NHS private dentistry, I know it's different in Scotland to the UK. Do you feel there are areas that have got stronger and weaker?
Yeah, there's a couple of trends emerging. I suppose initially coming into the pandemic, the NHS market seemed to be the market to be in. They were being heavily supported with less KPI performance required, less UDA targets in England, for example, and equally in Scotland, slightly different system as you've alluded to, but with effectively less work being carried out, still being topped up to a degree of previous performance through 2019 average numbers, for example. So that seemed a very safe place to be. I think what's since emerged though is the uptick in private and cosmetic dentistry, and initially there was a reaction of these practices, private practices, are doing very well because of NHS access issues, but those private practices aren't typically offering NHS based treatments. These are high-end cosmetic private dentistry treatments that are being carried out, and that bubble isn't bursting. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. It seems to be a real consistent trend within the marketplace. So yeah, I think there's a very safe, well, a safe haven amongst NHS dentists. And when we look at the private sector just now, and I think we take Real Good as an example, they diversify across their portfolio. And I think that is a very healthy place to be when you have a mixed income group, for example.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so taking that, what would be your predictions for the future of the dental practice market over the next 12 months or so?
Yeah, very good question. And crystal ball gazing to an extent. I think we will see, well, transactionally, the trends that are emerging just now, I am 100% confident to suggest that we're going to see that market bound on forward. The appetite from investors, independent buyers just now, who are typically dominating the market to the tune of about 80% of transactions, they are going to continue to be at the forefront of the profession. Many either securing their first practice or indeed empire building and building small portfolios. I think within the profession, we will perhaps see a little bit of change in mix in what was historically NHS practices becoming perhaps converting to fully private. More so in England just now, with contract reform on the horizon again, and depending who you speak to, there's timescales and dates suggested for that. But I think for those practice owners with a smaller NHS contract who have perhaps kind of lingered between being mixed or private and NHS, so truly mixed practice, might take that leap of faith now and feel more confident than ever before to go fully private because of the patterns that we're seeing in the marketplace. So I think we'll see a bit more of that happening within the profession.
Great. That's perfect. Thanks so much, Paul. There's nothing more for me. Is there anything that you just wanted to add?
It covers a lot, Seb, so thank you for that. I think as a company, we're keen to speak to operators who are either concerned about the market or looking beyond next 5-year plan. The opportunity to speak to those operators now, it's never too soon to be able to do that. I think we'd always welcome that conversation.